Okay, we're going to wrap up media days here. I've decided to move away from the madness over there that is Alabama about to start. Listen, I think Mark Richt's right. He said that he would pick Georgia to be the number one in the East. I'm with him. I don't know what will happen in Columbia. I don't see any reason why they lose that game necessarily. It's the only game they're not favored in right now, but a lot of that's about where you're playing. And I think the guy I talked with the most today is going to have a lot to say about where Georgia ends, and that's Todd Gurley. Talked with Todd for some time today, and Todd's not a big fan of the media, which is fine, no big deal. But today was good for him. I mean, if you're going to try to win the Heisman, which nobody is going to say publicly, you got to do stuff like this. And I think for Todd, this was a day for people to meet him for the first time, not just see him behind a face mask, get to know the person that he is a little bit more. And it's a big event. I could see why you would want to go do it every year. Now, maybe if you're not if you're Mark Richt or somebody like that, but after a while that gets old. But for Todd, if you're trying to win the Heisman, got to be here. He was the third most voted player behind Amari Cooper and TJ Yeldon. Yeldon had one more vote than him at running back. So those two guys are pretty powerful. For me, Bama comes from the West. I can't see Auburn surviving their schedule. They play everybody in the West, and they get South Carolina and Georgia. If you're Alabama, you got to wonder how you keep avoiding these better teams in the East. I mean, they haven't played, that I can recall off the top of my head, they haven't played the better teams in the East since 2010, which was South Carolina and Columbia. So they come to Athens next year, and that'll be monumental. I'm sure CBS will put that one on at 3:30. But this event is getting bigger by the day. Just see kids walk. I'm sure someone walked through my camera shot. There's no friends here sometimes, but it was a good trip. Long story short, I think the only thing you need to see or know is when Mark, we meet with Mark a little bit earlier than all the other press, and when he said, no, I would pick us, that tells me all I need to know, because that's not the way that he is a lot of times. He's more reserved, all shucks. There was none of that. I think he thinks they're good. For me, it's Hudson and the secondary. And everybody's going to focus on how poorly Hudson played in the Gator. But if he plays like he did against Tech, particularly in the second half, Georgia's going to win a lot of games. And you could make a case that they should win every single game they play except South Carolina. And if they do that, they'll win the East. It's a 8-game season. Can't get obsessed about one game. Nobody's talking about Clemson. I mean, last year that dominated. It just shows how far I think that game has fallen off the map. So you want to keep your wits about yourself, win that game, position yourself. Does it matter in the conference? No, but with the way the world has changed, Georgia could lose to South Carolina, and South Carolina lose one game in the conference and lose to Clemson and get beat and have 3 losses after the SEC championship game. Georgia has 1 loss. They're going to be in the playoff. So that's one thing to watch as well. All right, Dean Legge wrapping it up from SEC Media Days in Hoover, Birmingham, whatever this thing is. Glad I wasn't run over by anybody during the taping of this segment.